Okay, let's be real for a second. Going through a separation or divorce, when you've got kids involved, it's like one of the toughest things you can go through.
Yeah,
And try to figure out what the future looks like. It can feel completely overwhelming, right?
absolutely.
So many decisions to make.
Yeah.
And emotions are running high. But what if you had like a roadmap,
Yeah.
you know, a guide to help you and your co-parent find a way forward, one that really puts your kids' well-being first? Well, that's where a parenting plan comes in. Sometimes it's called a custody agreement.
Yeah.
But really, it's all about creating that roadmap for your family's future. And today, we're diving deep into exactly how to create one. And we'll explore how to make that whole process a lot less stressful. More about working together,
Okay,
focused on what's best for everyone. So, when people hear custody agreement or parenting plan, they might picture like these big courtroom battles,
Yeah.
lawyers arguing and all that. But it doesn't have to be like that, right?
No, not at all.
A parenting plan is really about shifting the focus. It's about creating a framework that works for everyone. And that's got to start with understanding what a parenting plan actually is.
Right.
So what are we talking about here?
It's like a blueprint for your co-parenting journey.
Okay.
It tackles those big questions that you're probably already thinking about.
Like what?
Well, things like who makes the decisions about your kids' education,
Okay.
their healthcare activities, all of that.
Yeah.
And it's also about how you'll handle living arrangements and how much time the kids spend with each parent.
So it's really comprehensive. Like you're thinking about every aspect of their lives.
Exactly.
Now, even the term custody can be a bit, I don't know, outdated.
Yeah, they can.
Because really the focus is shifting towards shared parenting.
That's right.
So when we say custody, we're really talking about who has the authority to make those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And visitation is more about when each parent gets to be with their kids.
Right.
So we need to be mindful of the language we use, I guess.
Right. Definitely.
Now, I mentioned those courtroom battles earlier. And while the legal system sometimes goes that route, there's a much better option, in my opinion, and that's mediation.
Absolutely.
I mean, you hear about these court cases dragging on for months, even years sometimes. But with mediation, studies show that it can resolve these kinds of disputes in a matter of weeks.
That's a huge difference.
It really is. So can you walk us through what mediation actually looks like?
Sure. So basically, it involves a neutral third party called a mediator,
Okay.
and they help you and your co-parent talk to each other effectively, find some common ground. It's like having a guide, someone to help you navigate those tough conversations.
Especially because those conversations can be so emotionally charged.
Oh, definitely.
It's hard to think straight when you're dealing with all of that.
Yeah.
So having that neutral person there can be so valuable.
It really can.
Now, what are some of the biggest benefits of going the mediation route?
Well, as you mentioned, it's much faster and less expensive than going to court.
Right.
But it's also private. You're not airing your family's dirty laundry in a public courtroom.
That's a big one for a lot of people.
It is.
And you're working together to come up with a plan that feels fair to both of you.
Exactly.
You're not fighting against each other. You're collaborating.
That's a key difference.
It is.
And that collaboration can actually set a really positive tone for your co-parenting relationship moving forward.
Okay, so you're not just solving the immediate issue. You're potentially laying the groundwork for better communication in the future.
Exactly.
Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What exactly goes into a parenting plan?
It can be pretty detailed,
Kind of.
covering everything from daily routines to how you'll handle holidays, even social media use.
Wow, so it's really comprehensive.
It should be, yeah.
So what are some of the key areas that every parenting plan should address?
Well, education is a big one.
Okay.
You'll need to outline how you'll choose schools, handle homework, address any learning challenges that might come up, and then there's healthcare, choosing doctors, managing medications, taking care of mental health needs.
All important stuff.
It is.
And of course, we can't forget about living arrangements and scheduling.
Absolutely, that's fundamental.
Figuring out where the kids will live and when they'll be with each parent. That can be one of the biggest sources of conflict, right?
It often is.
But having it clearly spelled out in a parenting plan can really help.
It takes away the guesswork,
Yeah.
reduces those day-to-day disagreements.
So imagine being able to talk about like your kid's holiday schedule without it turning into a huge fight.
That's the goal.
That's the dream, right?
It is.
And it's totally possible with a solid parenting plan.
Absolutely.
But it's important to remember that this document, it's not just about logistics. It's an opportunity to set the foundation for a healthy co-parenting relationship.
Right.
So take some time to think about what that looks like for you. What values are most important to you in this new chapter of your life? And how can you involve your kids in age-appropriate decisions to help them feel empowered during this transition?
Those are great questions to consider.
Yeah, it's not just about the parents, it's about the kids too.
Absolutely.
So when we think about a parenting plan, it's about providing structure and clarity during a time that can feel really uncertain. And by choosing mediation, you're choosing a path of cooperation. You're putting your kids' needs first. And you're setting the stage for a smoother, more positive transition for your whole family.
That's the ultimate goal.
It is.
And it's achievable.
Absolutely.
So I encourage you to think about beyond just the practicalities. What do you want your co-parenting relationship to look like? What kind of values and principles do you want to guide you? Because ultimately, it's about creating a new normal, one that works for everyone involved.
Yeah, and that starts with a well-thought-out parenting plan.
And a commitment to working together.
Exactly. So if you're going through this process, remember you're not alone. There are resources available to help you. And by focusing on collaboration and putting your kids first, you can create a brighter future for your whole family.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But I hope this has given you some valuable insights and some hope for a smoother journey ahead.
Me too.